Hey, this is Jim Moore. You are watching Justice for America, the program where we take a look at social and political issues from a biblical perspective. If you're a first-time watcher, we appreciate you taking the time. We know there's a lot of things you could be doing. So if you wouldn't mind taking the time to hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell, that will help other people to be able to see this in the long run because of the algorithm and all that. So, all right, so the way we format this program is I go through a number of links from pertinent information and give you then the opportunity after the program is finished to go and look at those links. Now I want to say a quick caveat. I am not responsible whether the links actually stay on. Sometimes we'll put them up there and they'll be on for a short amount of time, and then whoever decides to take them off, either the person that put them on or some other shadow agency or whoever. So I recommend that you get to them quick. I always like to tell people that if you're not looking at any of these links, you're only getting about 10% of the value of the program. So I really strongly encourage you to watch them. We tend to put them under the category of must watch being the most important ones. We usually have a few of those, and then all the rest are still really important. They're all really important, but perhaps we're saying, hey, if you've only got time to watch 2 or 3 of these are the ones that we would say. Today I happen to have a lot of them, so I'm going to try to get through as many of them as I can. But even if I don't get through them all and get my commentary on them, you will be able to go back and look them up. Strongly suggest that you do. All right, let's jump right into it. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about the elections and the concessions that have been made by VIVEK Ramaswamy. I hope I'm saying his name right now. And also just yesterday, didn't even have time to get that on here, but who's the other guy? DeSantis, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world of sickness. Okay, I'm careful about the words I use, okay, because this gets bounced often. We're going to talk about that, the new global affliction that is coming on the world, and it is coming. And then we're going to talk about some of the conflicts, warfare that's going on, and how you can walk through these things without being fearful. Make sure you stay tuned to the very end of the program, because I'm going to give you a link that is going to help you if you are a God-fearing person, and so on. Yeah, so you're going to like that one. So let's jump right into it. The first one, once again, we are seeing the rise of a global pandemic, of global sickness, and so on and so on. This time they're calling it Disease X. Now, it's interesting that a lot of X's are coming. I might get into that at some other time, why I think that is, but I really believe part of what the the general public is trying, or not the general public, but the elites and so on are attempting to do, is to try to get across to people that we are at the X. We're at the end, okay? Z would be technically the end of the alphabet, but still, it's a point of no return, a point where everything has changed, and so on and so on. All right, so I've got a few different links here. You're going to want to look them up. The first one is a must-see. Now, many of you know that Tucker Carlson has started his own network, TV network, like CNN, whatever. It's TCN, I think, Tucker Carlson Network. It is a pay for, but some of the stuff does get on YouTube and so on. I would say this particular link is perhaps one of, and I say this carefully, I don't want to over-exaggerate, one of the most important links that you might see, at least up until this point. And why is that? Well, let me tell you what the link is. So Tucker does an interview with a Harvard graduate, I'll let you get his name, a Harvard graduate scientist who, among many, so the big phrase has always been follow the science, follow the science. Well, really what they're trying to say is follow this science, the science we approve, and so on. Because scientists have not been able to agree on a lot of things pertaining to, the big C and all of this stuff. So there is an undercurrent that is becoming more and more obvious that is trying to convince the world you must trust us and do what we say as it pertains to the sickness and health of your body. If we say you got to have a a vaccine, you got to have it. It's going to be mandated, so on and so on. This has not stopped. Now, I think I gave you last program another stunning interview with someone who talks about this. Is a different one. And there are more and more. We're talking Harvard graduate. These guys are not sloughs. I don't know if you know anything about Harvard and Yale. These guys, they're very smart. And they're saying, no, this agenda that's being pushed, saying you've got to do it this way, and the global health and all of that is wrong. Okay? And these are not quacks. These are highly decorated, lots of letters behind their name and so on and so on. So you're going to want to watch this one. It's going to be something that really stirs your heart. And yes, it does have to do with what the chemical makeup, DNA, mRNA, and so on and so on. And this is not theories. This is not supposed. The guy is really, really careful about what he says and how he says it, because you have to understand these people that go online and do this, they're putting their careers at risk. They're putting their livelihood. Some people, they're actually, okay, Jim's going to go off the edge here, but there have been people that have suddenly not been around anymore. And it's like, okay, they came out, they talked about stuff, suddenly they're not here anymore. Nobody knows where they're at. Okay, so that's link number one. He says the unthinkable, okay? He says the unthinkable, and I do believe this may be one of the most important videos you see this year. All right, if you've been watching, a lot of people are coming out. The World Health Organization has come out and said another big, I'm not telling you something that's guesswork. I'm telling you something they are saying. I try to keep it to stuff that we have the receipts for, stuff that is right there. It's open. Everybody can find it. Everybody can read it. It's not some, guy in his basement trying to figure out stuff that isn't true. It is real. It is in front of us and so on. So the World Health Organization is saying another disease is coming. Now listen to what they said about it. I'm moving into number 4 here already. The WEF is telling us a mysterious new disease is coming. They're calling it disease X. Ooh, okay. And this time that's going to be 20 hours. Listen to this now. I don't know how they come up with this. I do know how, because they know, because they have information that you and I don't have. And they let it out little by little so that you can not be totally panicky about it, but yet kind of, condition you to believe in some. So the WF said mysterious new disease X is coming, and it will be 20 times worse than the big C. Literally 20 times more fatalities. Now, does that sound like fear-mongering to you? Does that sound like, again, we want to control the masses through the public? If there's anything that I could get you to understand, it is that all of these things that are happening are not coincidence. They're not all directly connected to one another, like all of these guys are in a room talking, but they are connected, all right? So global control, those of you who are Bible people, it's been said this is going to happen. It's actually happening. This is not about making people afraid, blah, blah, blah. It's about you being prepared and ready and being intelligently informed so that you can respond from a place of intelligence and being rightly informed, not just believing the lies and the fake news and the narratives that are being handed to you from people that want their narrative to be out front. All right. So WEF is saying it's coming. Okay. Expect that you're going to hear about it more and more. This is how they do it. They slide it in little by little. And that it's going to supposedly have 20 times more fatalities. I don't believe that's true. Although, I want to be quick to say, it very well could be true. Let me tell you why. All right. Again, not trying to fearmonger, but you need to know the truth. Number 3. So I skipped number 3 and went to number 4. I'm coming back to number 3. Again, this is absolutely truth. They're not even trying to hide it. See, one of the things about the rise of the internet and the rise of information is it's becoming impossible to hide stuff anymore. If you put it on a piece of paper, it's going to wind up on the internet somewhere. So the easy way of discounting this information in the past is simply to say it's all conspiracy. It's all just, some pimply-faced teenager in his basement, or some guy that can't get a girlfriend, or, sit around eating Hot Pockets in his basement all the time, coming up with stuff. No, okay? There are still those things. There are, for sure. There are still such a thing as conspiracy. Are you listening now? Conspiracy theories. There's the key word. It's a theory. A conspiracy is when 2 or 3 or more people conspire. That's where we get the word conspiracy. Conspire to do something. Usually they want to keep it secret. Okay, they can't conspire. They want to conspire behind. Okay, that is something that's happened thousands of times throughout the year, or throughout the history of the world. But that's different. A conspiracy is different than a conspiracy theory. A theory is when you're not sure. You think they might be doing this. You think people, but it's just a theory, like a scientific theory. Or here's my theory about why these guys lost the football game. It's a theory. Okay. What happens when the guys that are doing it come out and go, oh yeah, we're doing this? It's not a theory anymore. It could still be a conspiracy. All right. I'm saying that because it takes a while to get our brains that have been, frankly, literally brainwashed to believe certain things and just automatically reject things. It takes a while for us to get to the place to where we say, oh, wait a minute, this is actually true. Okay, God even said this would happen. All right, so on. Okay, here's the next one. Proof positive. Chinese scientists have created a new COVID strain with a 100% kill rate. Now let that sink in. This is, what do they call that? They were guilty of doing this with the last big C, and that was gain of function. All right, that's a word you need to know. Gain of function. What does that mean? That means if the function of a disease is to make you sick and to kill you. Okay, that's pretty much it. Make you sick and sometimes, kill you. Sometimes not. A cold doesn't typically kill you. It just makes you sick. Its function is to make you sick. If its function winds up in death 20%, 50% of the time, gain of function means to increase its ability to function at what it's created to do. Okay? So, gain of function is a real thing. Everybody in the scientific community knows about it, and it's been going on for a long, long time. Not a theory, okay? Not postulating a theory. It's the truth. All right, so as far as I can tell, and I try to check these out really closely, this particular link, and it may not be on there by the time you go to it, I hope you do, is saying that they're not trying to do this. They have been working on it, that the Chinese scientists have created a new I said the word earlier, C strain. Listen now, and this is the frightening part about it, 100% kill rate in the organisms, the mice that they use, okay? 100%. That is scary. Now, why anybody would legally be allowed to do that is beyond human reason, okay? And literally, I'm a Bible guy, I'm a Jesus guy, I'm going to tell you right now, it is beyond human reason because it's not human. Human beings are influenced by powers that they don't even believe in or understand. Anyway, so you should look at that. So that's coming. And then I put in one just for fun. I don't do this very often. Number 5, somebody noticed that the Simpsons have been uncannily accurate years and years ago about creating cartoons about things that, I don't know, maybe they thought they would happen or it was just a joke and they actually have happened. Here's one about the sicknesses. You just watch it. It's just kind of humorous in a way. It's kind of like, wow, where do these guys get this stuff? All right, let's get down to the elections. Now, as you know, we are 10 months away from the elections, okay? So I was thinking it was 11 months. It's actually 10 because January is just about gone. Isn't that amazing? So February, March, April, May, November, 10 months. And this is going to happen really fast. And there's going to be I believe, a monumental amount of conflict that happens during these 10 months. If you haven't prepared yourself in 3 ways, and what do I say 3 ways? Because you are a body, a soul, and a spirit. You cannot afford to ignore any of those 3 things, okay? Even people who aren't believers know that there is a body and a soul. They're not sure about the spirit part or however they verbalize it. But the Bible tells us I am a spirit, I have a soul, mind, will, and emotions, and I live in a body. It actually says that, I pray that you are sanctified spirit, soul, and body. So how do you get ready spiritually? Well, you get right with God, okay, through his son, Jesus Christ. Boom, the end, drop the mic. Number two, how to get ready emotionally, mentally, okay? You think about what might happen and how you're going to adjust. The military, they have a saying that says adapt or die. And that's not, that sounds funny, ha ha ha. We use that as a joke. It's not a joke in the military. If you don't adapt to your current situation, you're dead, okay? So you do have to kind of mentally prepare yourself. Okay, Lord, if this or this happens, I don't want to go to pieces. I don't want to freak out. You ever see these incidences where there's a car wreck or something dramatic happens, a tornado, and what do you hear? What do you hear? You hear people freaking out, screaming it over and over and over. You'll always hear one person out, one usually, well, I'm not going to say that. They're just, like that does something. It doesn't help anything. So you can emotionally and mentally prepare yourself. Listen, just pretending something's never going to happen that's not mental health. It's not, okay? I am never going to die. I'm never going to get sick. I am never going to have a problem at my job. That's dumb. I mean, that does not emotionally prepare you. So, not saying sit around, spend all your time thinking about it, but there is a preparatory way to do that. And then, of course, your body, yes, you should have some water. Everybody's saying that now. Saved, unsaved, government, non-government, anybody that has a brain in their head says, I probably ought to have a little bit of water, a little bit of food. I need to do, what's my plan if there was an emergency? Is my plan just to do nothing and trust God to take care of everything? I understand that. I'm that guy. I love the Lord. I trust it. But listen, you got to be smart too. God says you got to do your part and then he'll do his part and so on. So all that to say, I don't know what's going to happen the next 10 months. It's not my job to be a prognosticator. If I hear something and I feel something in my heart from the Lord, or I am a informed observer, I love that phrase, okay, then that's what I'm going to say. I really believe in the next 10, 11 months, you're going to see a tremendous amount of upheaval going on. How do you prepare yourself? I'm not going to give you all that information. There's plenty of guys on the internet doing that, but you need to think about it. Don't just brush it off because you're too busy watching a soap opera, okay? All right, so number one, VIVEK so this is the election. I'm just going to give you a little current information about this, okay? So VIVEK, I think it's VIVEK, so you should have an A, all right? VIVEK Ramaswamy has conceded. Most of you know there was the thing that happened in Iowa the other day, and it went like Trump 50%, DeSantis 30% ish, Vivek Haley like 20-ish, Vivek like 19-ish, whatever. All right, so Vivek basically, who I think is actually a very smart guy, and I think he would be a great leader, okay? But they always ask me, who are you going to vote for? None of your dang business, okay? Then it's not. I'm not going to tell you, okay? Because I want you to think for yourself, okay? And don't just listen to what Jim says, or anybody for that matter. You talk to God about it. You get informed. All right, so Vivek has dropped out. He had, in my opinion, a really graceful concession speech. And he said, the tally is in, the people have spoken, I'm not the guy, so I'm going to throw my support behind Donald Trump. And actually, I think that would make a great team, me personally. All right? That's all I'm going to say about that. So this first link is you can watch his speech if you didn't see it. And again, as always, I say some of these links are really long. I don't think that one is. Some are really long, some are really short. If you don't have time to watch all of them, especially the long ones, watch the first 10 minutes of it. All right. Then, I believe it was just yesterday or perhaps the day before, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, did the same thing. Now, that one did kind of surprise me because he was next in line from Donald Trump. And so I'm thinking, wow, he's only 20% behind him in the voting in Iowa, so he'll probably just hang in there. Well, he chose not to. All right. So, and then that makes it a two-person race. So you got Trump and you got Haley. I'm not among those who are just going to badmouth her and say she's a demon and all. Okay. I think when all is told, that's not true. I think she's actually a pretty smart lady, but I think she's off on some stuff. I personally would not. I don't think she's electable in that regard. So that's my opinion there. All right, so it's going to come down to Trump and Haley, and that's where that's coming. All right, but here's the crazy things happen. I just saw this morning that, well, how did that go? In Massachusetts, I believe, they're not even going to put Biden on the ballot. Now, I think I shared one last week that talked about that he wasn't going to be involved. I don't know if he's like doing a Trump thing where he's not going to show up or whatever. But this is kind of opening the door for others. And I didn't put a link about this. You'll have to look at it yourself. But here's what might happen. And this is the link I do have. Michelle Obama. Those of you who think the Obamas are out of the picture, you would be wrong about that. Okay, so she has hinted around both publicly and behind the scenes that she is very concerned about this election, as she should be. And so all I'm going to say about this, because I'm not that well informed on it, is I'm going to say, as many others are saying, don't be shocked if she either runs against Biden, which I don't think will happen, or the pressure mounts to where he has to drop out. Either she becomes a front runner or someone else. So it's going to be very interesting to watch in that regard. But really the thing that we need to be concerned about and pray about, not, listen, and I'm going to say it again, I know I get unpopular, I know people won't watch the program because I say this, but listen, Donald Trump is not your savior, neither is Nikki Haley, neither your favorite guy or gal, they're not your savior. Yes, we want to turn the tide of the country, absolutely, I believe that's God's will, okay, he did it in the Bible, he sets up kings, he takes them down. That doesn't mean we're not involved. He wants us to stand up and do the right thing and so on and so on. I believe all that. I totally believe all that. But that's not the end game, okay? The end game is that people in this country decide to start living morally. In the history of Israel, when an unrighteous ruler came to power, it seemed like a vast majority of the people followed him. If he was wicked, they became wicked. If he was righteous, they became... Now, this is horrible that we make our decisions based on what some leader is doing, and yet it is still very much the truth for many, many people. I hope you're not one of them. All right, so we do want a righteous leader. When the righteous rule, the Bible says the people rejoice. So when the wicked rule, they groan. Okay, so we want that. Okay, but don't forget why. We want people to get a right heart, come to the Lord, and so on. All right. So I'm going to have to end this pretty quick here, and then I will probably do a second program on some of the other issues because I am on a time constraint, but let me get a little bit more out of here. I've got some stuff on robotics here. Listen, Boston Dynamics is the leader in robotics in the world, and I would highly recommend that you go on Facebook on their page, Boston, just like the city Dynamics, or on their, they probably have, I don't know, they probably have Twitter, they probably have all of them. Subscribe to one of them and just watch, just keep aware of the progress. I've got two of them on here that are amazing. One of them is a gal, I forget what they call her name, but they're talking and have a conversation. I know you think you've already seen it, but listen, they're changing daily. So take a look at it. Another one is almost beyond belief. You got a robot driving a Tesla. The kind of the armor plated, if you haven't seen it, it looks like a little armored car. And so that you don't know the robot's driving the car. Sorry for the heads up. But you got a guy walks up and a human with a robot. The robot puts on a cowboy hat and he's got a machine gun and he just turns to this vehicle that's about 50 yards away or so. And he just starts machine gunning this vehicle and putting all these holes in it. As soon as he's done, the other robot steps out of the car. And the point is, things are advancing quicker than you realize. Okay, watch that. There's a lot. Oh my God, I'm just going to have to. One of the things that I wanted to put on here, you probably, if you saw the picture either on the beginning of the program or on Facebook or on YouTube, I have a picture of a guy named Alex Jones. His name might get me bumped off this. His picture might get me bumped off. There was an interview that was done with Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, and it was absolutely stunning. Now, Alex was one of the very first guys to start exposing stuff, and he did go cray-cray. In my opinion, he went off the deep end. He said some stuff that was really not verifiable, and you got to be careful about that, because if you say things that you cannot verify, you better say this is just a theory. Anyway, he became the poster boy for beating up anybody that wanted to say something that the narrative wasn't saying. So anyway, I cannot show you that video because it's been taken down. All right. Maybe we'll find that in the future, but I just wanted you to know, listen, not everything the man said was wrong. Okay. Tucker was pretty stunned at the number of things that Alex said that turned out to be true. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So that one has been taken down. Sorry about that. Now here is one about the WEF and Klaus Schwab and all of that. Those of you who are interested in that, this link is about a book. Okay, so the guy from Epoch or Epoch, depending on how you say it, news broadcasting agency, said, I wondered if these guys had actually written down, because you've heard people say they wrote down their plan for the reset and the New World Order and all that. And so he went investigating, and he actually found the book that they wrote. Okay, you want to see that. He doesn't read a lot. It's very short. This one's only a couple of minutes long. But he's like, here's the book. He underlined some stuff that they said. Everything they're doing right now, they wrote out that they were going to do it. You need to see it. Number 3, let me read this one to you, and then I'm going to end, and I'll pick up in the next broadcast. Number 3, and these are my words, all right? I want to be clear about that. And I started out saying, we have been foolish, all right? And I want to say, those of you who are Christians, we are supposed to be the ones that sound the alarm. God commanded us, blow the trumpet, sound the alarm. I don't care how you try to get out of that, it's still our job to do that. So we've been foolish. We have slept through perhaps the most important time in human history. While watching our television programs and our sporting events and sucking up all the entertainment that we can in order to be numb to our own selfish lives. While we slept, we have been under a not-so-secret invasion that's been happening on a number of levels, one of which is our border right now. Watch this 5-minute video and let the truth sink in. This is another one from Tucker. I have to applaud him. He's getting some great stuff. And this one is him talking about why. And you're going to hear things, if any of you have been watching for any length of time, I've talked about this over and over. There are always lots of nuances to things that are happening. This issue, you talk about money, you can talk it to death. You talk about the border, talk it to death. You talk about the sickness, talk it to death. There's always lots and lots of stuff to talk about. I get that. But I'm the guy that likes to boil it down to the simplicity. And the simplicity of what's happening in the border is votes. If you could do the one word, it's votes. It's about staying in power. It's about altering the society that we live in order to get what we want. And that thing, what we want, what they want, is a dystopian society where you have no free will, but you are told what to do. And if not, you are punished for not doing it. All right. I'm going to get off and stop this broadcast so it doesn't go too long. And then I'm going to come back and do the next one. And hopefully these will be out just days apart from each other. You can watch. So please take the time to subscribe. Listen, I get people every day saying, hey, I can't find it. I can't find it. Okay, you got to subscribe. And there's a little button after you do that. Anytime you go onto YouTube, you just open up your YouTube app on your phone and it says subscriptions. And when you hit that, it'll give all the people you subscribe to. And I'm one of them. Now, these things don't always go in order. All right. Sometimes I have no control over what order they put them in. So sometimes you're going to have to take the title and you're going to have to do a search for it. I'm sorry. Most of you know that by now. But the important thing is that you do 2 things. You subscribe and you hit that notification bell. That's your best chance to always seeing what we're doing. All right. God bless you guys. Love you all. Keep us in prayer. We're praying for you. Hey, God's in control. Everything's going to be fine. All right. Stay alert. Stay awake. Stay prayed up. Love one another, care about one another. Amen. And don't let hatred creep into your heart. God bless you. And give yourself permission to have a great day.